Hello, grade 12s. In this session, we will be analyzing the short story of Eveline from grade 12. So, in summary, we can say that Eveline is the main character. Let me write this. Main character. So, this Eveline is a young woman who lives in Dublin with her father. Her mother is dead. She is dreaming of a better life beyond the shores of Ireland, such that she plans to elope with Frank, a sailor who is her secret lover, and start a new life in Argentina. With her mother gone, Eveline is responsible for the day-to-day running of the household. Her father is drunk and only reluctantly tips up his share of the weekly housekeeping money, and her brother, Harry, is busy working and is away a lot on business. Eveline herself keeps down a job working in a shop. On Saturday nights, when she asks her father for some money, he abuses her verbally, especially since he is always drunk. When the father is eventually handing over the housekeeping money to Eveline, Eveline has to go to the shops and buy the food for the Sunday dinner at the last minute. Eveline gets tired of this life, and so she and her Frank book onto a ship leaving for Buenos Aires in Argentina. What happens later is that just as she is about to board the ship, she suffers a failure to resolve and cannot go through with her eloping. Without saying a word, Eveline turns around and goes home, leaving Frank to board the ship alone. So Eveline wants to escape the sad life that her father put her through. That was just the summary. Let us look at the setting of the story. So the story takes place in Dublin. Ireland during the early 20th century. So this is the setting. Whenever you are asked to give the setting of a story, you must include the time and the place when the story takes place. So you can either be given an option to describe the setting of a particular extract that you would be given in an examination or in a question paper, and you will just be generally asked to describe the setting of the entire story. So you must be very familiar with the setting so you are able to answer questions. Let us now look at themes that arise in the story. So for the first theme, we can have different forms of death. So in Dublin, there are different forms of death. Why am I saying this? It is because people who no longer live in Dublin are considered as dead. But this is only according to Eveline. So the different forms of death are portrayed by Eveline. So I can say that people who are no longer staying in Dublin are considered dead by Eveline. That would be the first point. And please do not describe themes in point form. Describe themes in paragraph form. So the second point would be that people who are no longer in Eveline's life are considered dead. This means that Eveline only considered people who are in her life alive. Another one would that Eveline fears being married. Let me write it. Eveline fears being married, as in marriage she would lose her identity and literally be dead. Hence, she was a bit indecisive about living with Frank. Allow me to quickly erase this so we can look at other themes. So, the second theme in this story would be, excuse me for a moment. The second theme in this story would be that abuse. So, the theme of abuse in the story is brought by Eveline's father. Emotionally and verbally abused Eveline. This was told when he would refer to Eveline as being stupid. In other words, whenever he was to give her money for food. And another theme is Eveline's father physically abused her mother and siblings, which are her brothers. So Eveline's father used to physically abuse her mother. That led her to living a sad life. He abused her and her children, especially the boys. So thirdly, Eveline's employer Miss Gavan used to verbally and maybe even mentally abuse her because she would ridicule her in front of customers, right? So that is why I am saying that Eveline's boss used to abuse her. Please remember not to write themes in point form. The second theme would be religion and keeping promises. So Eveline's mother had taught her children Catholicism and honesty. And in terms of keeping promises, Eveline adhered to her promise to her mother of looking after the family, and also just taking care of the kids and the household, taking care of the household. Yes, that is the theme of religion and also keeping promises. This is a very important theme. I believe it can also teach us as people to just keep promises. If you have made a promise, just adhere to it, because if maybe you were planning on doing something different to that, it might not have yielded good results. So another theme is nostalgia. In the theme of nostalgia, Eveline's thought about what it means to be a Dubliner makes her think of liberating herself by leaving Dublin. She feels that if she leaves, she will have to start a new life and lose her identity. She is ready to sacrifice her life, which is a reality, but does not want to sacrifice her memories. So Eveline was ready to sacrifice her life but not her memories, and definitely and her identity. So that would be the theme of nostalgia. The last theme is women and society. So in this story, this story is a typical 20th century Dublin type of story, which portrays Eveline as a victim who faces the majority of the problems that were used then, or were usual during the time of the 20th century. So the women had inferior value to men. So women had inferior value compared to men. Yes, women had inferior value compared to men. This is still a major problem in the world, because at times you can find that women are abused, women are, let's say, men are elevated above women, and such stories. So women are also oppressed by men. You can see Eveline's father abusing her, right? And Eveline's father also was also abused by her husband. So Eveline thought that she needed a male who would support her. In terms of mentality and emotions. So this is how women were treated in the society. Women were considered to be less valuable compared to men, and they were also oppressed. So that would be the theme of women and society. Let us now move to the characterization. Let us start with Eveline. Eveline was 19 years old, and she was emotionally abused by her father after her mother's death. So Eveline, let's say she is not courageous. Why are we saying that Eveline is not courageous? Well, she did not stand up against her father whenever he was abusing her, and she did not get the courage to board the ship when she was supposed to leave with Mike. She is also indecisive because she does not fulfill her desire to escape when she could not board the ship and let Frank leave by himself. Eveline failed to board the ship because she was asking herself questions of whether or not it was suitable or not suitable for her to leave and just leave her old life behind and lose her identity. She even considered what the people of Dublin would say about her and whether or not her leaving would yield good results or not. So let us move to Eveline's father. So Eveline's father is a drunkard because he was always drunk. He is also abusive because he took all of Eveline's money and he even abused her verbally. He also abused his wife and his other children. Hence, we are saying that he is abusive. He is not a caring father. He is not a caring father because he let his children fend for themselves, and he even had the courage to take their money whenever they were trying to just fulfill household needs. He would take the money and make it seem as though it was his, right? That is why we are saying he's not a caring father. So Eveline's father is also, let's say, he has this stereotypical. Why are we saying he's stereotypical? We are saying this because he treats girl children differently from how he treats boys. So that would be all about Eveline's father. Let's discuss Frank. So Frank is kind and open-hearted because he showed kindness to Eveline during her time of need and sorrow. He is also loving because he loved Eveline to be he loved Eveline enough to be able to ask her to escape with him. He is also well traveled. We know this because it was said in the story that he had been to a few countries, and he can sing. We say he can sing because he often sang to Eveline, even though Eveline did not understand some of his songs. So yes, that would be all about Frank, the loving boyfriend of Eveline. Now let us move to Eveline's mother. But there's nothing much about Eveline's mother, just the fact that she was dead. She was dead, but before her death, she had taught her children honesty, which means that she was an honest person herself. So yes, that would be all about Eveline's mother. Let's talk about Miss Gavan. So Miss Gavan, we can say that she owns a shop and she employed Eveline. Is an employer of Eveline. She also mistreats Eveline. Because she used to tease her whenever there were people in the shop. So that would be all about the story of Eveline. I hope you guys understand this, and I hope you will be able to utilize the knowledge that I have imparted to you during an examination. That will be all for today, and thank you.